Somewhere in economy class right now, in a middle seat, there's reportedly a billionaire. And the guy next to him, fighting him for the armrest, has absolutely no idea. That's not an accident. That's a full-time strategy. From a hoodie that costs less than the coffee next to it, to a legal structure so tangled even his own accountant needs a diagram to explain it, there's apparently no limit to how invisible enough money can make you. The wild part? The richer someone actually is, the harder they seem to work at looking like they're not. Honestly, I'd stay at level 1. Cheaper. Way less paperwork. Let's go find out who's actually sitting next to you. Level 1. The deliberate nobody. No logos. No watch worth mentioning. A hoodie that's been through the wash so many times it's basically see-through. This is the entry point. Quiet luxury, minus the luxury part anyone can actually clock. The whole point is that nothing you're wearing prices out at more than lunch. The buyer is a tech founder in a plain gray t-shirt that reportedly cost him about $12, sitting in a coffee shop, indistinguishable from every other guy on a laptop except for the number in his banking app. Nobody's impressed. That's the entire design. From here, the disguise stops being about clothes. Level 2. The millionaire next door. This has actual research behind it, and it's funnier than you'd expect. A landmark study on American millionaires, the millionaire next door, reportedly found that a large share of self-made wealthy Americans drive ordinary, used cars, live in middle-class neighborhoods, and would be completely unremarkable at a school pickup line. The buyer is a small business owner worth 8 figures, whose neighbors reportedly assume he's doing fine, a phrase that's doing an enormous amount of heavy lifting. The same research reportedly found the opposite pattern showing up constantly too. High earners with visible status symbols, the leased luxury car, the designer everything, were disproportionately more likely to be living paycheck to paycheck behind the image, spending the income as fast as it arrived instead of letting any of it actually turn into wealth. The most expensive thing a wealthy person can wear isn't a watch. It's the version of themselves that never lets anyone clock the number. Quick aside, because this is exactly the kind of thing I go way deeper on. If you want more of this, I've actually written books on it. Read them, or don't, but if you're curious, scan the QR on screen right now. Level 3. The nameless address. Picture this. A completely normal house. Beige. 2-car garage. A basketball hoop over the driveway that's seen better days. Pull the property record, and the owner isn't a name. It's an LLC with a string of letters and numbers that means nothing to anyone except the attorney who filed it. This is Level 3. Ordinary real estate, owned through an anonymous holding company, specifically so a public records search returns absolutely nothing useful. The house isn't hidden. The owner is. The neighbors have no idea. That's not paranoia. That's the entire point of the paperwork. Because from Level 4 onward, this stops being about a single house. It starts being about an entire century of very good reasons to disappear. Level 4. The Lindbergh reflex. In 1932, the infant son of one of America's most famous families was kidnapped, a case that reportedly dominated headlines for weeks and ended in tragedy. In the years after, wealthy families across the country reportedly became dramatically more private, quietly scaling back the public displays of wealth that had made their children, homes, and routines easy to identify. That single event reportedly reshaped how old money behaved for generations. Visible wealth stopped being a status symbol and started being a liability, a target painted directly onto your own family. The buyer, generations later, is a family whose great-grandparents lived through that shift and who still, reportedly, avoid publicly discussing where their kids go to school, a habit nobody in the family can fully explain anymore except that it's simply how it's always been done. Level 5. The Gray Man. Executive protection has a term for this, borrowed straight from military and intelligence tradecraft. The Gray Man. Someone trained to blend so completely into a crowd that nobody's eye catches on him at all. Level 5 hires that skill set directly. Personal security consultants reportedly train wealthy clients the exact same way, teaching them to dress down, avoid predictable routines, and never ever look like the most important person in the room. Because in a kidnapping or extortion attempt, being forgettable is reportedly the single best form of protection money can buy. The buyer is a client who reportedly took a 2-day course specifically on how to stand in a crowded train station without drawing a single glance, taught by a former intelligence operative who now charges more per hour to teach invisibility than most people make in a week. Spy agencies figured out decades ago that the best disguise was never a fake mustache. It was making sure nobody bothered looking at your face in the first place. Level 5 just applied that lesson to a guy trying to buy groceries without a bodyguard 3 steps behind him. Level 6. The Shell Behind the Shell. At this level, hiding the person requires hiding the paperwork behind the paperwork too. Family offices reportedly layer ownership across multiple LLCs, trusts, and holding companies, sometimes 3 or 4 deep, specifically so a single public records search can never connect a name to a house, a car, or a bank account in one clean line. Staff reportedly sign non-disclosure agreements before they're told whose household they're actually managing. The buyer isn't one person filling out one form. It's a legal team that reportedly spends more time designing the invisibility than most people spend designing the actual estate. Even the household staff car, the one that picks up groceries and drops kids at school, is reportedly registered to a completely separate entity from the main residence, so a curious neighbor running a plate gets a corporate name that dead ends immediately. Level 7. The Protected Poor Look. The guy in the $12 t-shirt from Level 1 isn't dressed down because he's humble. Somewhere close by, reportedly, there's often a security team dressed exactly as unremarkably as he is, blending into the same coffee shop, watching the same door, invisible for the exact same reason he is. Here's the part that flips it completely. The poorer someone at this level appears, the more protected they usually actually are. The stealth isn't the absence of security. It's security's final form, so complete that even the protection itself has learned to disappear. At every level below this one, you assumed hiding wealth was about modesty, or taxes, or just personal taste. It was never any of that. It was risk management. Wearing a shirt that cost less than the coffee, standing 3 feet from you in a line you didn't even notice him in. So next time you clock someone in a beat-up hoodie and a 5-year-old Toyota and think, must be doing okay, you might be underestimating them by roughly 9 figures. 7 levels, and the actual flex was never the watch. It was making sure nobody in the room ever thought to look for one. The billionaire in seat 14C from the top of this video landed hours ago. Nobody on that flight ever found out. That's not a coincidence. That's the entire business model, and honestly, it might be the most effective marketing campaign in the world that's specifically designed to never be noticed. If you want to know more, read my books. Scan the QR codes on screen right now if you want the deeper version of everything you just watched. See you in the next one.